I wasn't always an Apple user. I mean, I did use an iPod in high school and an iPhone in college, but what I'm trying to say is I got my first Mac in 2012 when I started med school, and since then I've upgraded my iPhone many times, most recently to this XS, which, awesome piece of tech, very happy with that. I got an iPad mini during my clinical rotations, and I purchased an iPad Pro with the Apple Pencil when I started residency. I don't think that Apple or their products are necessarily perfect, but I have very much enjoyed their attention to detail, their hardware, the way the ecosystem works together. But there is one product that I'm not going to be upgrading to, and that's the Apple Watch Series 4. I did a video on the ECG function, and I mean, overall, I gotta say, this is a very impressive piece of tech. It is very alluring for sure. But instead of upgrading, I'm sticking with my old Fitbit Blaze. Here's why. For those of you who are new here, my name is Dr. Kevin Jubal, and I am obsessed with life optimization. If you've ever watched my other channel, Med School Insiders, that will become readily apparent. So anytime I adopt a new piece of tech, a new device, I always want it to contribute to my life in a meaningful way. So for example, going from a Windows PC to a MacBook Air when I started med school definitely curbed my appetite for tinkering. I just, instead of dealing with all these different customizable functions on MediaMonkey, I just used iTunes, and it didn't have all the features, but it worked a lot better and I didn't have to fix things. Purchasing an iPad mini during my clinical rotations, well, first of all, it was helpful for the larger screen, so when I was studying away from my computer, that was awesome. But more importantly, it was key for clinical rotations. Trust me, when half of your grade depends on the evaluation from your residents and your attendings, you don't want to be studying on your iPhone, because it looks like you're texting or you're up to no good, you're on Facebook, Instagram, whatever. Whereas if you do the exact same thing on an iPad, it just looks more like you just look like you're doing work and not up to no good. The ironic thing, of course, is that you can still text and do the same functions on your iPad. Then the iPad Pro with the Apple Pencil, total game changer. I have a video on the Med School Insiders channel going over how I use the iPad Pro with the Apple Pencil to take notes. And then finally upgrading from my 5-year-old 2012 MacBook Air to the 2017 MacBook Pro let me do things like edit this 4K footage or do database research with much more ease. But this Apple Watch, it's an amazing piece of tech, but for me at least, I see it more as a liability. You see, one of the things that I try to optimize is my productivity. And in this day and age, we're constantly being bombarded by various text messages, notifications, emails, whatever. And it's this fight for our attention that saps our ability to focus for prolonged periods of time and to do meaningful work. And don't get me wrong, the convenience and the way that the Apple Watch works with all the other Apple products is so seamless, it's beautiful, it's so convenient. But overall, that productivity is being sapped, at least in my opinion. And there has been increased attention to this issue. You have, iOS devices and Android devices, they show you your screen time, how you're using your phone. Like, I've been using that recently and I've been surprised that I pick up my phone close to 100 times every single day, which is just, wow, really? And being more aware of this is awesome, because then we can curb the habit. We can be more aware of how we're directing our attention. And with the phone, it's a lot easier to just put it on airplane mode, turn it upside down, put it under your desk or in another room, and then just get to work, right? Whereas a watch, a smartwatch, it's on your wrist. It's always on your wrist. And it's so easy and so tempting to just check your notifications, respond to a text message, see that new email, whatever it is. It's an instant upgrade on the convenience factor, no doubt. But it's also definitely a hit on the attention and deep work fronts. So this is just, my perspective for productivity. There are a lot of use cases where having an Apple Watch totally makes sense. If you go running and you don't want to carry around a bulky phone, then the watch allows you to not only track your exercise, but it also has the feature of being able to call in an emergency and stay connected, things like that. Now, about a year ago, I was gifted this Fitbit Blaze, and I've been using it almost daily ever since. Now, I believe this was Fitbit's first attempt at a smartwatch, and it's not that great of a smartwatch, to be honest. I mean, when you compare it to the other devices that are out there, there's not really that much of a comparison, right? The screen is lower resolution, the build quality isn't the same as, an Apple Watch. It's the integration with other functions and the features just aren't as polished. But it is a fantastic fitness tracker. I've been using it for my weight sessions in the gym. I've been using it to track my bike rides when I go cycling, and I even use it to track my sleep. So as a fitness tracker, it's amazing. It's just not a very good smartwatch. But that's okay, because I don't really use the smartwatch features. It can notify me about new calendar events, text messages, phone calls, things like that. I've disabled all of that. I don't want to be bombarded with notifications. The only real smartwatch feature I use is changing the song that I'm listening to, and I think you can even do that with their lower end products. You don't have to get one of their smartwatch options. So again, this is just my opinion. This is how I go about deciding whether or not I want to purchase a new piece of tech. For me, the hidden productivity is too great, and for that reason I'm going to be sticking with fitness trackers over smartwatches, at least for now. But I want to hear how you guys evaluate it for yourselves. I know there are a lot of you that have awesome justifications as to why you have upgraded to an Apple Watch, for example, and I want to hear that down below. And I gotta say, I mean, this is totally a sleek, polished, very appealing piece of tech. Apple has really done a phenomenal job. But in the grand scheme of things, I think it would actually be more detrimental to my life. My productivity, my ability to focus for sustained periods of time, and my ability to be present with other people. So in short, I don't necessarily believe that better tech is always a better thing. See you guys in the next one.